Gentlemen, let's be brutally honest, for a second. Most men don't actually know how to hug a woman properly. They treat it like some casual gesture, something quick, something forgettable. A pat on the back, a fast squeeze, and done. But there's the controversial truth you need to hear. A hug can be one of the most powerful ways to spark desire, build sexual tension, and create a deep emotional connection without saying a single word. Because whether you realize it or not, a woman can tell exactly what kind of man you are by the way you hold her. If your hug feels weak, nervous, rushed, or empty, she feels it instantly, and it will turn her off just as fast. But if your hug carries a balance of strength, calmness, and intent, that same woman will walk away craving more of you and wondering about you long after you've let go. Attraction isn't built only in what you say or in the flashy moves you try to pull. It's built in subtle, almost invisible moments. And one of the strongest ones is how you hold her wenches in your arms. Women are deeply wired to respond to body language, energy, and presence. And nothing communicates those three things more clearly than a hug. But here's where most men blow it. They either overdo it, coming off needy and desperate, or they dardo it, coming off timid and weak. This is where stoicism comes in. Stoic man doesn't chase validation. He doesn't cling. He holds his ground with Kalampkin. And that confidence is exactly what women crave. When you hear her like a man who is calm, in control, and centered within himself, she feels safe, desired, and intrigued all at the same time. And that's why in this video, I'm going to break down 4 simple things you can do when you hug a woman. I will completely change how she feels about you. Do these right and trust me. She'll walk away thinking about you long after the moment has passed. 1. Hold her like you own themament, not like you own her. Here's where most men get it embarrassingly young. When they hug a woman, they either squeeze too tightly, like they were desperate to keep her from leaving, or they barely hold on at all, giving off the vibe of insecurity. Both extremes kill attraction instantly. The secret, gentleman, is in feeblance. You need to hold her like you own the moment, not like you own her. What does that mean? It means you're fully present. Your mind isn't racing, you're not overthinking, and you're not clinging to her like she's the only source of your worth. Instead, your body language communicates something far more powerful. I'm grounded. I'm centered. I'm not chasing you, but I'm glad you're here in this moment with me. That subtle shift in energy changes everything. When you hug her with control, not force, she feels desired but not dominated. She feels valued but not suffocated. And here's the controversial part. Women can instantly sense this difference. A man who clings too tightly communicates fear of loss. A man who barely touches communicates weakness. But a man who holds her firmly, calmly, and just long enough, that's the man she craves. Owning themament also means you're the one setting the rhythm. Don't rush. Don't let nervous energy make you release too quickly. But at the same time, don't grip her like property. You're not trying to prove ownership. You're reprieving presence. This, my friends, is what stoicism looks like in action. A stoic man doesn't panic when he gets close to a woman, doesn't fumble with insecurity. He knows who he is, and hell, it's that self-confidence radio throw, something as simple as a hug, and that's exactly why it's so rare and so attractive. Imagine this. You're saying goodbye after a date. Instead of froshing it or holding on like it's your last chance, you wrap your arms around her with calm steadiness. You take a slow breath. You let it. Your shoulders relax. You let the hug linger just long enough to feel natural. You don't squeeze too tightly, but you don't back off weakly either. And when you finally are near, you do it slowly, like you're in control of the timing. Do you see what just happened? Is that one hug communicated confidence? With that a single word? And that single hug alone can leave her replaying themament in her head all night now. That's just the first principle. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Because the second one, has nothing to do with your arms or your grip. It has to do with the power of silence. And most men ruin it every single time. 2. Let silence speak louder than words. Here's a harsh truth, gentlemen. Most men ruin a perfectly good hug by talking too much. They get nervous in the silence, feel the tension rising, and instead of holding steady, they crack a joke, blurt out a compliment, or start rambling, just to fill the space, and right there they kill the magic. What they don't realize is this. Silence, when used the right way, is more powerful than anything they could say. Why? Because women don't just listen with their ears, they feel with their bodies. When you're hugging her, she's not analyzing your words, she's feeling your energy. If you're calm, steady, and quiet, it communicates test confines. If you're fidgeting, mumbling, or nervously joking, it communicates insecurity. And here's where most men fail. They didn't realize that silence isn't empty. Silence is full. It's full of presence. It's full of tension. And that's exactly what creates attraction. Think about this. When you stay silent during a hug, you force her to notice everything else. The closeness, the rhythm of your breathing, the way her body feels against yours. That's what women crave. Not your nervous chatter. Not your over-explaining. Just your presence. And here's the controversial part. Women don't want a fairy moment explained. They don't want to narrate your feelings like, "Woo, this feels so nice," or "I could stay like this forever." No, they want to feel irritant in the silence. Because sometime, Essie, strongest thing you can say to a woman is nothing at all. I'll let me give you a blunt example. You've just finished a deep emotional conversation. You lean in and hug her. Most guys, they panic. They say something corny like, "I never want to let you go." Or they crack a joke to break the tension. But the Manwo understands psychology. He stays quiet. He breathes slow. His arms stay steady. He lets the silence linger. And what happens? She feels his chest rise and fall. She feels the calmness in his energy. And she starts wondering, what's he thinking? That curiosity is powerful, because curiosity is the first spark of missing you. Gentlemen, let me hammer this in. Most men are terrified of silence. They think if they're not talking, they're losing her. But here's truth. Silence is tension, and tension is attraction. The men who master silence, they become unforgettable. So the next time you hug her, try this. Don't talk. Don't joke. Don't rush. Just hold her. Breathe. Be steady. Let the silence speak louder than words. And when you finally let go, she'll once remember what you said. She'll remember how she felt. And if you thought silence was powerful, wait until you hear this next one. Because the third principle is allowed eye contact. And when you do it right, it turns a simple hug into something magnetic and unforgettable. 3. Stare confidently into her eyes. Gentlemen, let me give you a secret. Most men never realize eye contact during a hug is one of the strongest attraction triggers you have. See, most men underestimate the power of the eyes. They think a hug is just about arms and closeness. But the moment you combine that physical touch with steady, confident eye contact, the game changes. It's no longer just physical. It becomes emotional, intimate, even magnetic. Here's the problem. Most men avoid hugs. They look away too quickly. Almost does, if they're scared she'll see too much. Others overdo it, staring intensely with a forced, almost predatory vibe. Both mistakes ruin the moment. Because what women crave isn't fear, and it isn't force. The ability to look at her without flinching, without rushing, without trying too hard. Just calm, steady presence. Think about it. When you look into her eyes confidently while holding her, you're sending a powerful silent miss. I'm comfortable with intimacy. I'm not hiding, not desperate, not need to prove anything. That is rare because most men collapse under intimacy. They can talk casual eye for hours, but the moment things get quiety and personal, they fumble. That's why the man who can hold eye contact without breaking is unforgettable. But here's the key. It's not just about looking. It's about how you look. If your gaze is cold or empty, she feels disconnected. If your gaze is aggressive, she'll feel uncomfortable. But if your gaze carries both strength and warmth, calm confidence mixed with genuine care, she feels two things, tones, safe and desired. That's the sweet spot. Let me give you an example. We're hugging her after a date. As you slowly pull back, your arms are still lightly around her. Instead of looking away nervously or cracking a joke, You hold her gaze for just a second longer. No words, no rush, just steady eye contact, relaxed breathing, and a subtle half-smile. In that moment, she feels a spark. She feels the safety of Yorkhamness and the thrill of your intent, and when you finally let go, she'll replay that look over and over in her head, because eye contact creates intimacy words can never touch. Gentlemen, remember this. Your eyes are the window into your confidence. Your rise. Communicate more about your strength than your words ever could. And the man who can look without flinching, that's the man who lingers in her thoughts long after the hug is over. But we're not done yet. It's the fourth principle. It's the one most men completely misunderstand. It's the difference between making her feel safe in your arms or suffocating her with neediness. And if you don't get these right, every hug you give will push hair away instead of pulling her closer. 4. Make her feel safe, not smothered, gentlemen. This is where so many men completely blow it. They confuse safety with clinginess. They think the tighter they squeeze, the longer they hold, the more affection they show, the more she'll feel secure. But let's be brutally honest. That's not safety. That's insecurity disguised as love. And women can feel the difference instantly. When you hug her, like you're gripping her for dear life, she doesn't feel protected. She feels pressured. She feels like you're scared to let go, scared that the second you release she might disappear. And that energy, it doesn't draw her closer. It pushes hair away. Here's the truth. Woman doesn't want a man who clings. She wants a man who contains. She doesn't want to feel trapped in your arms. She wants to feel encored by them. That's the difference between neediness and confidence. Think about it. Safety comes from calmness, comes from the way you carry yourself, the way you breathe, the way your frame stays steady and unshaken. A woman feels safe when she knows you are in control of yourself first, that you're not using her to soothe your insecurity, that you're offering comfort, not demanding it. Example, picture this. You're saying goodbye after an evening together. Instead of clutching her like you're never going to see her again, you wrap her in a firm, steady embrace. Your breathing is calm. Your shoulders are relaxed. You don't overstay the hug. But don't rush it either. When you let go, you do it slowly, as if you chose to end it. Not because you were afraid she might pull away first. That's presence. That's control. That's what makes her feel safe enough to want more. If you can't control your own emotions, if you can't master your own insecurity, no hug, no matter how long or tight, will ever make her feel safe. Because you'll always sense the desperation dirtneth. That's why stoicism is so powerful. A stoic man isn't cold. He's injured. He doesn't need to cling to prove his value. He simply shows up, steady, grounded, and in control. And that alone is enough to make a woman relax, trust, and open up in ways words can't touch. Gentlemen, never forget. The way you hug a woman says more about you than your words ever will. If your hug is weak, she feels it. If your hug is desperate, she feels it. But if your hug is calm, strong, and balanced, she feels safe, desired, and drawn to you. That's the kind of hug that Macashare wants you more. Now, I want to hear from you. How do you usually hug women? Do you think you've been guilty of smothering her or pulling away too quickly? Drop your experiences in the comments. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's next, because in the next video, I'm going to reveal the one hidden thing women secretly judge about you before you'll even open your mouth. So, hit that subscribe button right now, tap the notification bell, smash the like button if this video gave you clarity. This is Amelia, and thank you for watching Dark Psychology. Stay strong, stay centered, and I'll see you in the next video.